Hello, and welcome again to the Executive Room podcast, where we delve deep into the minds of remarkable executives who have shaped the business world with their ideas and actions. I'm your host, Kimberly Afonso, CEO and founder of the KA Consulting Group. Today, it's an honor to have Scott Paddock join us. Scott is the CEO of Wondr Health, a leading digital health company transforming lives through proven behavioral change programs that improve metabolic, emotional, and physical health. Previously, Scott served as CEO of Healthcare Blue Book, where he drove consistent year-over-year growth by delivering digital solutions that helped millions navigate healthcare costs with confidence. With experience across SaaS, business intelligence, and healthcare strategy, Scott has repeatedly stepped into leadership roles with a mission to accelerate growth, create value, and improve lives. So let's get started. Scott, really great to have you here today. One of the reasons I wanted you on the show is to share with our audience how you built a remarkable career leading high growth companies, and you've really navigated a range of executive positions. Can you tell us a little bit more about your professional journey and becoming CEO at Wondr Health?
First, good morning, Kimberly, and certainly thank you for inviting me to the show. Happy to spend some time with you. Um, as it relates to my career specifically, um, I think it just comes down to the people that I get a chance to work with, and the mission of Wondr Health is absolutely outstanding. I've never worked for a business where the mission is to help everybody in one way, shape, or another. So it really drew me to this particular opportunity in this part of the healthcare sector where, as weight goes, everything else in life goes, whether that's how you feel physically, how you feel emotionally, do you sleep better? You think of all the things that I can think of all the things that I've done, and I've never been at the true heart of healthcare. So this really drew me to this business. And as I really dug into the business and I got to meet the people here at Wondr Health are absolutely some of the best I've ever worked with. Their passion, their desire to really solve our problems, that's what really drew me here.
And what are some of the key things that you could share with the audience that you've learned being in such a unique sector? Like you said about, weight, it really contributes to everything. Is there anything you can share about, the metabolic health and the things that you're doing at Wondr right now?
Yeah. I think the big lesson that I've learned, and I came here, from a business that was all around consumer engagement, is weight is such a deeply personal issue for people, and you have to meet them on their terms, on their time, when they're both emotionally, physically, and their environment is ready. And so you in essence have to create a program that is almost limitless in how it can meet somebody. Because once you align with them, then that's when the special sauce really happens. That's when the special stuff comes out. But it's really having to be uber flexible in the way that you communicate with them, the way your program meets their needs, the way that you engage with them. Like all that has to be like almost endless derivations that make it fit for that person in their personal journey. So that was really that big learning for me.
And one of the things that I thought was really interesting across your leadership roles was that you've consistently brought a really strong growth orientation, scaling teams, expanding products, driving results. What's your overall approach to growing companies rapidly, and what tips do you have to other CEOs and top leadership to really step into that rapid growth mindset?
Yeah, great question. I had the luxury, good fortune, whatever term it may be, Kimberly, to really start my business career off at General Electric in a small division of GE, that I learned right away that growth solves all problems. If you're not growing a business, there is a litany of other challenges you take on around how you manage cost, how you manage people. And the mentors that I've had in my career, specifically starting at GE, used to hammer home this statement like growth solves all problems. And so, as I've adapted my career and I really look at every business, what I'm looking for is, okay, what are the growth opportunities? Is that product? Is that new channels? Is that what other things I can take back to my existing client base? And I think if you really get your head around that, and then you really lean in with your growth team, whether that is the marketing team, B2B, and or the go-to-market teams, like you got to get the company to think about the users, the clients first and foremost. If you think that way and you get your culture thinking that way, then everything starts to line up in a growth sort of mindset. And I can tell you, if all the businesses I've been in, the ones that were growing, it was substantially easier to navigate upwards in the organization than it was when you were struggling to grow.
I love what you said of growth solves all problems. What a great quote that I think everyone listening can really take from your expertise and your insight there. And, what have you really embraced as what's your mindset around growth and scaling? I know you said it came from GE, also your mentors there and your professional experience. But is there anything you could share with our listeners around, key things that they may need to have as a mindset to really embrace that growth and scaling?
Yeah, I don't know if this works for every business, but it's, one, Kimberly, is, get into the minds of your buyers. Like that's, you have to think like they think. Two, you got to think out of the box a little bit. Like not every solution or not every solution to a problem has to already be pre-built, be 100% right, be the final version. Like go out and test a few things, try a few things, break a few things. Most importantly, like engage with your customers and ask them a lot of questions. They want that. They're not expecting you to be full of all the answers. They want to be part of that decision making. And so, my real encouragement to anybody, whether it's another CEO or growth leader or people on my team, is don't hesitate to ask your customers like what's going on in their lives, and if I did this, would this interest you, or what would I need to do differently? That's number one. And then number two is like having an iterative mindset. Like I don't think that one solution solves all problems. Like you have to continue to iterate it, and you have to iterate it quickly. And I learned this. I don't remember where I learned this from, Kimberly, but Microsoft PowerPoint is the best solution in the world because you can create all of your thoughts and all your products in PowerPoint, and you haven't really built anything yet. Then you go to market. You talk to your client base. You talk to the market. You learn what they're willing to do, and then you go back and build the product. Right? You want to be upfront with your clients and your prospects and let them know that you're in the ideation phase, but it's really getting out there and having those conversations.
That's really a great insight, especially as sometimes you hear about companies doing the opposite, not hearing from their customers first. So really going straight to the customer is a great insight. And I'd love to hear now, as you as a leader, what are some of your key leadership values or principles that have guided you throughout your career?
Yeah, fantastic question. These are probably an evolving set of things I've learned through both great successes and some big failures. First is be direct with people, be uber direct. And as a New Yorker, it sort of comes across as you're always direct. Well, be direct with people, be sincere, be transparent, hold people accountable. But I think the most important thing that I've learned is once you're direct and you've set the relationship with people, is trust them and let them go do their jobs. And your role changes from a leadership role from the perspective of, let me kind of help you with this, help you with that, to how can I help you? How can I now help you move things out of your way? What kind of resources do you need? Let's spitball on an idea or brainstorm on a different idea. Like it literally changes. And to me today in my career, it's all about supporting the team around me. Like I'm the last person that is driving the bus. I'm sort of the one that's, helping make sure people have what they need to have in order to execute accordingly.
Great insight. And yeah, I went to school myself in New York, even though I'm from Philadelphia. So I completely understand the directness and completely agree that being direct is so, so necessary, something I've seen throughout the years too. And it seems that the leaders who are really direct always get that respect too, because people do really appreciate that. So, really switching gears a little bit, this podcast, as you know, Scott, is all about executive leadership, thought leadership. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on, with the rise of social media, increased transparency, and everything that has gone into a CEO's presence and an executive's public voice, do you believe it's crucial for leaders and executives to be vocal and engaged in addressing current events and societal issues? And how do you go about deciding what you will or will not address on your public profiles?
Wow, that's a loaded question, Kimberly. First, since now I know you're from Philadelphia, kudos to the Eagles. As a New Yorker, I'm a Bills fan, so I have to at least get that out of the way. Um, that's a big question. I think the first is, at least the way I think about it is, and probably lots of us learned this the wrong way. Like I think when I first started being a little bit more social media out there, it was more opinion based, and opinions are fine, but if unless they're backed up by facts, it's just somebody else spewing an opinion. And so I guess more I've learned, matured, and evolved, Kimberly, is all of us can speak our mind as long as there's facts. I listen to people. I appreciate people who come to the conversation with facts and specifics. Those that just want to spout their opinion of the day, the hour, the week, I personally don't think that's the right thing to do. I don't have time to go listen to the opinions of the moment. And so my encouragement to all executives, be it a CEO or other people, is have an opinion. We all should have an opinion. Come to the debate, come to the conversation with one, an open mind, and two, with facts, right? Because at the end of the day, I think that's what moves us along as a society is you have to have an open mind that, okay, maybe my position, can be altered. Maybe my position can be changed as I learn. And we need to constantly be in learning mode. If we stay in learning mode, we keep an open mind and we use facts, all ships will rise accordingly, is the way I think about it. So I don't subscribe to social media because I'm not prepared to have facts there for everything we do.
Great advice. And I am very impressed with your LinkedIn. You have a really great active presence on LinkedIn. You have a great personal brand. So, what advice would you give to executives who are looking to establish their personal brands, especially on LinkedIn, and to be active in general? You gave great advice already about their opinions. And if we look clearly at LinkedIn, what would you say has helped you and what's been your strategy there?
Kimber, this is the easiest answer to all the questions you had to me. Is the very first thing is you find a team of people around you that can support your LinkedIn presence. I have to give kudos to the Kivas and the Sarah Draves and the Nora Dudleys of the world. They're on my team. My ask of them was, let's leverage LinkedIn and let's leverage my presence in a way that can further the business and our mission and our purpose. Let's not make this some form of political or social stance. And, I kind of line up behind them, and they really have, done all of the thinking and all of the outbound. And so my guidance to people is like you just can't sit there as a CEO and be on LinkedIn every day. Like it's actually impossible. But find people that, can help extend your voice, extend your message, but keep it within the bounds of like this is a business, right? And I'm the leader of a business. Let's have conversations around that.
I couldn't agree more. And I think you've built a fantastic team of great, great people who can help you with that and also still show your authentic voice, which has been something that, we've noticed from the outside, which is a great thing that I'd encourage everyone listening to take a look at your profile for that, because that's really the balance. That's really great on your profile.
Thank you.
And yes, of course. And working in digital health, healthcare, and being surrounded by so many innovations, love to hear personally, what does your own personal health routine look like? And is there anything that you've adopted from your work in the field?
Yeah, Wondr Health really was an eye opener to me. This will be a little bit of a commercial for Wondr Health. I hope you don't mind, but it answers your question. Wondr Health is a weight management solution and an obesity support solution. In our weight management solution, there are a number of lifestyle support traits that we teach people, and one of them, which is really how I try to embrace it, is get up and move. Like, I try to walk every day, 10 to 12,000 steps a day. Try to stand at my desk when I can. So that's kind of the foundation of it. Number one. Then number two is, like, we teach a lot about just how to eat smarter. You can eat whatever you want. Any of us can eat whatever we want, but you can't show up at McDonald's every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, be smarter about it. So eating smarter. So when I'm out traveling, which I do almost every day, just be smart about my food intake. And then third, really, is I learned this from my son, who is a fantastic specimen of a person. Just, you got to work out 3 or 4 times a week. You got to lift some heavy things, right? You may not like it, but if you lift a few heavy things 3 or 4 times a week, it's just like your body reacts very positively. So those are really the three things: move more, eat smarter, lift a few heavy things 3 or 4 times a week. I'm not looking to become the Hulk. I'm just looking to live the best life I can.
That's amazing to hear. Also, I personally follow a lot of health people who, give advice. And I've noticed over the past 5 years, there's been a huge change to talking about lifting weights also for women. And it's something I also have taken up myself over the past few years. And I've seen a great, improvement in my overall health, because I never did that before, only did cardio. So I think that's great advice. And it's nice to see how that's become more mainstream and something people are talking about, not just, men or women, but both. So thank you for sharing that. I think it's great for everyone to hear, and also great for every company, especially yours, to have someone that is healthy at the forefront to inspire the rest of the company, especially in your field. So to wrap up, I'd love to hear, you've accomplished a lot throughout your career, and of course, you're still going, and a lot of great things to come with Wondr Health. If you could go back and give advice to your younger self, what wisdom would you share, and what would you share with, young people listening to our podcast as well?
Yeah. Man, if I had to go back and tell myself a few things, this is going to be a long conversation. I think what I share the most with people is you got to work hard. You really got to work hard, and that doesn't mean your job is breaking rocks with a sledgehammer. Like, you just got to put the time and the effort in. Those that I've seen around me in my 30 years that have worked really hard, they're putting in 10, 12 hours a day, they're going above it. They just somehow they're more successful, whether that's measured in upward mobility or just success in their role. So you got to put the time in. You got to learn, right? You got to put yourself in, and you got to learn as much as you can about the industry, about the business. You got to be open-minded. I think the biggest thing that I would give myself would be, take some more calculated risk. Like, my background, by definition, in physics and engineering is very conservative in nature, and I probably could have taken some more calculated risk to advance my career faster. But I think calculated risk, continue to put a lot of work in, and don't be afraid to take a path that is less worn. I think those people that are being a little bit more creative, maybe going right when everybody else is going left, like, you see them being uber successful. So roll the dice a few times, I guess. Work hard, roll the dice.
I really like that. Work hard and roll the dice. So we'll end with that, Scott. Thanks so much for joining. And until next time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kimberly.